welcome to my garden. Let me show you around. In my garden, I have almost 80 plants. I've got, 11 different types of herbs. I've got 8 tomato plants, 15 pepper plants. I definitely love my vegetables, but this year I really tried to incorporate some flowers because it was getting a little too green. So my complete garden is really a container garden, and these white pots make up most of my containers. I've got about 40 of them, but they don't have any drainage, and that's a real problem when you're trying to grow, well, anything. So I put these little plastic containers at the bottom of each pot, and then I put something down there just to hold it up, make sure it doesn't sink to the bottom. And this plastic container has some holes in it. So there's maybe about 3 inches of space there that the water can drain away from the plant. It also helps it to kind of self-water. So tomatoes are kind of my little babies of the garden. I love my tomatoes, and it feels like no matter how long it takes to grow them or how much trouble they are, it's totally worth it when you get one of those fresh garden tomatoes. I've got a lot of varieties, including green zebra. I've got some new girls over here. I've got some yellow pears, some orange tomatoes, some Jean Flamme tomatoes. I've got these indigo apple tomatoes, which aren't my favorite taste-wise, but it is really, really pretty. And then sun gold and green zebras. Okay, so one of my absolute favorite things about my terrace is that I have little bird friends. I mostly get sparrows around here, but you'll also see some bigger birds. There's this tan one, and there's one that I think is a robin. I try to make them feel really welcome and not like I'm totally obsessed with them, because I totally am. Oh, they're just so cute. I never thought I'd be a bird person, but when we're not talking pigeons, I really love them. So I had some tomato plants all around last year, and at the end of the season, you know, some of the fruit dropped and some of the seeds got into some of the cracks. And here and in a couple other places in the garden, tomato plants have sprung out of the cracks. And I'm not really sure how those seeds lasted all winter and didn't freeze, but here there's a tomato plant, and the one over there even has fruit on it. So I actually built this planter box with my father-in-law, Bob. He's 76, but still very handy with a screwdriver. It's 3 by 5 feet. We did it with 2 by 4s. I stain the outside and I line the inside with landscape material so the soil kind of all stays in there. And my husband had the great idea of adding wheels to the bottom so we can actually move this around, which is really helpful, you know, early in the season when we only get patches of sun on the terrace, we can kind of move it into the sun. And also because we're renters, we like the idea that we can kind of move it anywhere, even move it away to our next apartment. These eggplant, I love them so much because, you know, when they're fresh, they're really firm, they have a lot of great texture to them, and they're also really not bitter. So I found that eggplant is actually one of my favorite things to grow up here, along with all the other favorite things that I've already mentioned. Hi, little buddy. I told you, you cannot have flowers. The wind is pretty calm right now, but it can get kind of intense up here on the terrace. I have seen it like a hurricane up here. So you definitely gotta watch it when it comes to what plants you're choosing, because things like zucchini will actually break in the wind. So this table seats 6, but it actually extends and can seat up to 10. So this gives us an opportunity to really have people over. When anyone can come over for dinner and I can do some recipe testing, I really welcome it. So come on over. There's no hose out here on the terrace, so I have to use watering cans. It takes me probably 7 to 8 watering cans worth to water this whole garden. So it's definitely a little bit of a labor of love. This out of control thing is my lemongrass. And it's great because all you do is chop one of these off and put it in a pot and you've got, well, whatever you're making with lemongrass. Besides lemongrass, one of my other herbs that I have here is basil. And then the rest of my herbs are in my hanging baskets. I've also got marjoram, cilantro, I've got oregano, summer savory, rosemary, thyme, parsley, and sage. And I love having fresh herbs on hand because if you're like me and you like cooking with a lot of fresh herbs, it can be hard to have them all on hand. So this way you've always got just what you need in your backyard or, well, your back terrace. And that's my garden. Thank you guys so much for coming over.